In the late 1800s, English orphans volunteered to make the long and grueling journey to Canada in search of a new life. To the orphans, it was the unknown, but seemed like a risk worth taking to escape the city slums. In Manchester, one charity, the Together Trust, took part in helping these young orphans move to Canada. Today, the Together Trust is still going strong, and 7 of its students have volunteered to relive the experience of the Victorian orphans and what it took to get to Canada. There'll be no tablets, no smartphones, and plenty of hard work. Our volunteers are Lewis, Paris, Cavell, Reese, Ryan, Alexis, and Lorique. The first task will be Victorian School life, where discipline is everything. Let's see what our expert has to say on this.
The Victorian schools, it was generally a case that boys would be taught separately to girls. They'd enter through separate entrances. It would be very much based on discipline, so it would be based on being very strict. They would be expected to do everything that the teacher would tell them. If they didn't, there would have been punishments to some extent. They'd still be using the cane and things like that at that period. I think today's volunteers are going to go into a task which is going to be very different from what they are used to. And I think it's going to be a real shock to the system because it's going to be very much based on discipline. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to have that kind of person shouting at them and expecting them to do things in a very regimented way.
Victorian school life. Can they handle it?
Hands behind your straight backs.
Oh, they do look smart.
Place your hands in front of you so I might do an inspection and see you are clean and fit to come into my classroom. The other way, boy. Now, before you enter my classroom, you will all remove your caps and place them under your right arm. Your right arm. That is your left arm. Please place it under your other arm.
Cavell, it's best to know your left from your right, mate.
Follow me, boy. Good morning, children. You may sit.
Enthusiastic?
There will be no talking unless you are invited to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll begin our first lesson of the day. Can anybody tell me what this little thing is at the side of his mouth here? Hands up if you can tell me. No shouting out. Yes, boy.
It's tusk.
His tusk, indeed, it is a tusk. The elephant's tusks are made of ivory. Can we say that together, please? The elephant's tusks are made of ivory. Again, the elephant's tusks are made of ivory.
The littlest thing that you did, you'd be in trouble for.
Together, the elephant eats all types of herbage and roots.
Someone's had a late night.
Excuse me, am I boring you?
Come on, Lorique, concentrate.
I think we'll just have you moved here, please. No problem. Onto that side, please. Is that him?
Hey up, that's Lorique's cards marked.
What is your name, boy?
Ryan.
May I have your work, please, Ryan? I have selected Ryan's work as top of the class today.
What?
It is... was that a comment? Do you feel that your work is superior?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Mom does not.
You can't laugh. You can't laugh at certain things. You can't stare. You have to, be respectable. I don't think I would want to be in those classes. I can actually see me getting punished for doing, bad stuff in the class.
Looks like you're a psychic, Cavell.
Is it a little painful standing like that?
Yes, ma'am. It's really painful.
Good. Well, would you like to hold your arms a little higher? We have another little person that seems to have been causing an awful lot of problems today. Namely you. Come out to the front, boy. I have my dunce's cap. And I'm afraid this young gentleman is going to be wearing this for a while.
Very fashionable.
And you are wearing the hat with the big D on because that shows you are a dunce.
Probably don't want to be laughing at Mum, lads.
Would you kindly, A, tell me why you find it so amusing?
There was just Reese and Cavell laughing because of Lorique, because of the few things he did.
You will say, I apologise, Mom, for spoiling the lesson for other people. Put your arms up.
Oh, leave him alone.
I apologise, Mom, for spoiling the lesson for other people.
I'm sorry, Ma, spoiling the lesson for other people.
Good. Please turn round and give me the dumbbells. If that does not work, I'm afraid Mom will have to use her cane.
If they still do the cane, I'll just move out the school.
You will either have 3 sharp blows on the hand, or you will have 3 sharp blows on your bottom.
I felt uncomfortable. But I think that's how he had to feel. I think that's how everyone felt on those times. They know that the life that there is in Manchester is bad. It made them feel like, yeah, I want to go to Canada.
Once the orphans had decided or been persuaded to go to Canada, they would declare their consent in front of the local justice of the peace, get checked by a doctor and get on the ship. Let's hear from our experts.
So there's the Together Trust, which was originally known as the Manchester and Salford Boys and Girls Refuges and Homes, partook in this child emigration scheme. It would have been children that came into the charity because they needed accommodation. They would be asked whether they would like to have this opportunity to go to Canada. If they agreed to that, they would consent in front of a Justice of the Peace to say they wanted to go. That was all recorded and written down. They then would have got on a train over to Liverpool. Anybody that went on one of the passenger boats would have to have an inspection to make sure they didn't bring any kind of disease on board at the time. And then they would all have come onto the ship and been immigrated across to Canada. For the young people today, what I would like them to gain is the sense of how big a change this was for the orphans and what they would be experiencing. It's quite exciting for them to be able to go onto a boat that's very different to boats that you go onto today.
On the ship, bon voyage.
I'm Captain Slater, and welcome to my vessel, the Glacier. Now, you'll be setting off from the docks here in Liverpool to your new home in Canada. You'll be with me and my crew for the next 10 days. You're going to be working, you're going to be scrubbing the decks, peeling potatoes, cleaning the brass. In fact, you'll do anything I say.
What's so funny, Paris?
People nowadays won't talk to you like that. They would have more respect, but he didn't care.
I hope none of you have got any diseases and you've all been cleaned before we've got on board. Anyone got any diseases?
Don't say anything.
Because if you are ill, you'll be quarantined. I don't want you getting my crew. You be quiet, short stuff.
It was telling us that if we were ill, we had to quarantine. I think it'll be harder for us to live. We won't be like talking to none of our friends.
Every morning, you'll get up at 5 a.m. We'll have breakfast, you do your chores, we have prayers at 7 a.m. Then we do more chores, and then by 7 p.m, more prayers. And 8 p.m, in bed. And that's how it goes every day for the next 10 days.
Sounds fun.
Have you got any questions?
What's the rations like?
The rations, well, if you like potatoes and soup, you'll love this voyage, because that's all you're getting, potatoes and soup.
Thanks, Captain.
What's the journey like to say?
Might be. I can't guarantee your safety. In fact, some of you might die.
Charming.
I actually thought it was a joke. But he looked at, and he had that serious look. That made me think, yeah, we could die.
Someone's going to look after us.
Oh, bless him.
Right, that's enough questions. Come on, let's go.
I think orphans back then was really nervous and scared.
These will be your living quarters for the next 10 days. 6 bunks this side, 6 the other. Little treat for you. A biscuit. Take one.
Oh, looks tasty.
You can take one as well.
No escape, Paris.
Lunch away. Enjoy.
Are they dog biscuits?
Are you eating that? Or talking to it? Get it eat. Otherwise you'll starve.
I'll take that option.
The food was hard and didn't taste very nice.
If I have to eat them for 10 days, I'll just be sick.
Thanks, Lewis.
Do you like that? Comfy? Uncomfy? Well, welcome to being at sea. How about you there? You look like you're in a coffin. Enjoying it?
Stinks.
It stinks. Well, get used to it.
Stuck on that boat for 10 days, cramped in that little space with all those people would have been a horrible experience.
It'd be dead boring because there's no Wi-Fi, no internet, no Google, no phones or anything.
Google Wi-Fi?
His beds are uncomfortable. I don't think I was hurting, my neck was hurting. I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Come up. You're not on holiday, you're here to work. And remember, after you've done this, I've got more chores for you. Aren't you lucky?
Yeah. Oh, we're going to be going to Canada, so when we arrive there, we'll be living on a farm, I think. Would be good to actually, like, see the world and actually like be able to like make a new life somewhere else.
When the orphans got to Canada, they would settle in a receiving home until farmers took them to their new homes. Here's our expert to tell you more.
As soon as the orphans got off the boat, they would have had another medical inspection, because this was now about the orphans not bringing disease into a new country. Canada at this point, its employment was mainly agriculture, and they were calling out for workers to come and work on the farms. Boys would generally work on the farms, they'd learn new skills like how to milk the cows, how to plough the fields. In terms of the girls, they'd be more likely to work within the homes itself. So they would have been looking after younger children, they'd been doing domestic duties. I mean, I'm hoping the young people, when they get across the farm, will really get stuck into that kind of work and will get that empathy of what their orphan would have been doing and how they would have been working.
Canadian farming, a new life awaits.
I hope you're all not too tired from the journey. My name's John Fletcher.
Hello, John.
This is Canada. It's a huge country. And my farm goes on for miles and miles. You're responsible for building this new country. There's horses to feed, there's eggs to collect, and I'll show you how to do this. You got a question?
Of course he has.
We're gonna mow.
Get the fly mow out, lads.
There's no mowing here. Our grass is eaten by the cows. One of your jobs will be milking those cows.
The orphans would have felt really happy to start a new life, but also kind of sad at the same time because they've got to work all day, every day.
We have to pick up manure.
Where are you from, lad?
Manchester.
Manchester. England, not far from me. You'll be having to do that.
A rewarding job.
You work here for your keep. I'll feed you, I'll clothe you, and I'll put a roof over your head.
They thought they really wanted to get out of Manchester and they sailed here to Canada.
We have men, and that's what you're going to grow into. A man. Right. It's time to get some work done. Come on.
Game of Thrones.
That stinks. I know. We thought the farm was dirty because of the poo. Do you want to just take it back? Yep.
One more. It'll drop again. It wouldn't. I'm not letting it drop again because you can pick it up.
Come on, lads, stop squabbling. Conserve your energy.
You two have nearly finished it here, aren't you?
Yeah.
Very impressed. Very impressed.
Gold
This
star.
is good work you're doing, lads, and it's hard work. Is it licking your hand? Feels funny, doesn't it? That's right, spread it about. Don't worry if it goes up your sleeve.
Ew.
It'll not bite your arm off.
Ew.
Just relieving himself.
I fed the calves. I got manure myself.
How nice.
We need people who are going to make the land work for us.
Yes, you can trust them.
Of course.
What if you don't?
You've got to trust people at first. You be straight with people, people will be straight with you. Come on, lad. It's lunchtime.
I had a moment when I felt connected to the farm more or less. Felt good. I feel like I was actually there, like I was actually living there, like I was taken back in time.
It was really mean and strict time. Different to nowadays.
I think the orphans would have liked it here.
For the orphans that came to Canada, it was obviously quite varying experiences depending on what their situation was. We've had letters that have come back from young people that have done really well. So they might have ended up with a lot of acres of their own land. They might have gone in being very successful business people. They might have gone into the ministry. So they've had a much better life than they probably would have done if they'd stayed within Manchester. We've also had some letters from children that maybe missed home, wanted to see family members that were still there. So it would vary depending on what their placement was like and how much they got involved within that family life in Canada itself. Doing the activities that the young people have done has been really important for them to have a practical understanding of what our orphans would have gone through, and that these were actual individuals that lived, that it's not a story. So they've been able to say this actually would have been what they would have done, and these were the kinds of things they might have felt.
And doing this makes me feel like I need to go in Canada and learn more, see what the farms are like, if it is different from the one I went to. You can see a picture in black and white and see how it used to look, but you don't see the actual true colour in it.
Since I'm doing this, I like history now.
It helps me understand about what the kids my age had to go through back then. It gives us a better understanding of how our school was. Back then they would have to sleep there and then go to school there, and then had this really big journey to Canada.
Well, there you have it. They've held weights, scrubbed decks, ploughed fields, and even got a bit of poo on their arm. Our volunteers have come through it all, learnt loads, and they really have experienced the journey to Canada.